Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, technology, and social media, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to thank all of you guys here on YouTube, as well as New Tech, for your guys' continued support as we go through this challenging time here on social media across the board, and even on some of the New Tech platforms. But nonetheless, guys, you have done a lot to help me out, and I appreciate all of you guys here on the channel.
We start things off from TechCrunch, a comprehensive list of 2023 tech layoffs, from major layoffs at Google, Amazon, Microsoft, to small fintech startups and apps. That's right. The economy overall, even in tech, is being affected. Last year's tech-wide reckoning continues. In 2023, layoffs have yet again cost tens of thousands of tech workers their jobs. This time, the workforce reduction has been driven by the biggest names in tech, like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Yahoo, and Zoom. Startups, too, have announced cuts across all sectors from crypto to enterprise SaaS. Now, it could be argued, ladies and gentlemen, that since 2020, of course, we know who became president during that time and the establishment took over, we have seen a tremendous strain on our economy, where this administration has placed all the burdens on Americans. So even within the establishment, they're having to make changes. But we're going to go into the details as to why the establishment of the tech industry are suffering. And of course, that will be made quite clear here in a moment. The reasoning behind these workforce reductions follows a common script, they say. Right, sure. Citing the macroeconomic environment and the need to find discipline in a tumultuous path to profitability. Okay, that's simple language for, or in straight language, which we do here on the BuzWeaver channel. If you're new here, welcome, and let me just explain it. Here on the channel, we take the difficult, we take the complicated, we take the tumult, we take the chaos, we take the framing and the difficulty. Now, I do like creative language here and the usage here of the word and verbiage. But basically what they're saying is that the tech industry is struggling and they're finding it very difficult to profit. I think a lot of that has to do with advertising. Part of it is advertising, but also the economic situation that we're in as this administration has placed the burden on Americans. And even within the tech giants, they're suffering, of course. And the reason, I believe, of a lot of that, and I'll get to that in just here in a moment, I'm going to show you here the layoffs from since January to March. And, of course, we're supposed to be in an economic recovery. Everything's supposed to be going better, according to Yellen and the administration and Biden himself, too. But I will leave an article. I'll leave a link to this article down below if you guys want to go into the nitty-gritty of each of the individual content. But as we know, here on the BuzWeaver channel, a lot of this has to do with the exposure that these tech giants received in the Twitter files. We had always talked about this for years here on the BuzWeaver channel. And as you can see here from Barry Weiss, and we've covered this before here on the channel. This is back in December 12th of 2022. Less than 90 minutes after Twitter employees had determined that Trump's tweets were not in violation of Twitter policy, Vijaya Gadde, Twitter's head of legal policy and trust, asked whether it could in fact be coded incitement to further violence. So in other words, this is why, ladies and gentlemen, we'll never have hate speech in this country. We can't and shouldn't have hate speech in this country because it will be a matter of who is in control, particularly of government and authorities, as to how the hate speech will be enforced. And it will be the group that is in charge that will determine if they are offended by something versus another group who may be in the minority or ideological minority. And in this case, we have Twitter, or at the time, Twitter under Vijaya Gadde, or under the particular management of Twitter before Elon Musk, because it changed hands several times. But nonetheless, we have here the reasoning, a big reasoning behind it, and that is that tech was exposed for their activities. And not only that, as we covered here on the channel, the Department of Homeland Security and government agencies were also involved, had dashboards to tell many of these different platforms. Of course, we don't have the information entirely on, say, for example, Facebook and Instagram or Meta now, as well as on other platforms, including YouTube. But as I've mentioned before, YouTube gives the mainstream media, legacy media, government-funded media, the leg up on everyone else. In other words, they're given the priority of other channels. So if you look up this story, even now on tech layoffs, you're going to get several hundred probably various other media before you get to any creator. Even creators with 1 million subscribers or more probably aren't even going to list until like 50 or way down the list. So your guys' support of the channel is always appreciated. And I like covering these topics because they're very important, because this isn't what the mainstream media is going to tell you. And that's, what's actually happening. Now, they'll use their coded language, but as you see here, the Department of Homeland Security introduces disinformation in government reports. Remember that? Do you guys remember Nina Jankowicz? Nina Jankowicz. You remember her? She was going to be the head of the disinformation and misinformation. Here's Mayorga. Alejandro Mayorga. You talk about someone who's completely mishandled the Department of Homeland Security, including at the border. What an extraordinary, just unbelievable what's happening in our country at the border, and economic, and here within this Ministry of Truth is what they try to create. And here's Nina right here. Now, you guys may remember her now, so here's a complete picture of Nina in and of herself. And, of course, here's Jack Posobiec from, this is probably quite some time ago, breaking Biden picks millennial Harry Potter obsessive to run DHS Ministry of Truth, which never happened because, fortunately enough, we had social media to counter what was going to be happening, and, of course, the just exposure overall. And so it's just really an interesting path that we are on here in the country, how a small channel like myself trying to cover these topics and these issues, despite the overwhelming odds of what I have to compete against on YouTube itself. Now, I'm not discouraged or anything of that because you guys are the ones that help me out. Now, that's because why the views are so low on these topics is because there's just no discoverability. I mean, if you do a comparison on my channel and look at what we do here on coverage on breaking news versus, say, even gaming, which I've not really gotten majorly into, but have started getting back into, you'll see a significant difference in view count, simply because when you guys search for news, it's going to give all of the other legacy media, especially on YouTube, the priority channels are always going to come before me. And that's not me complaining or pouting or anything else. I'm just saying that's why it's challenging to do these types of topics, at least when I'm trying to compete within a reasonable market on YouTube, at least in levels of fairness. Where's the equity here, right? Ladies and gentlemen, where's the equity? But I want to thank all you guys for your continued support here on the channel. And that's what I have for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. And, of course, below this video, if you want to help out the channel, there are various Amazon links there. So if you have Prime or use Amazon frequently, you can simply click on those and use the landing page to place your orders and watch your Prime movies and those sorts of things. Of course, it all helps out the channel. And, of course, your guys' likes and comments are always part of what I enjoy and appreciate, you guys helping out the channel across YouTube and on Alternate Tech. So thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you behind the camera there from the Galaxy phone next week.